Give me the stuff about how you're this innocent baby. Joe, they're calling you a corrupt politician.
You have not released a single solitary year of your tax return. What are you hiding?
Now at 10 on this 2020 election day, the race for president coming to a head tonight. Will it be 4 more years for President Trump or is third time the charm for former Vice President Joe Biden? The latest on the race ahead.
She will be Iowa's leading benefactor of outside independent expenditure money, what is known as dark money.
I said and made a pledge not to accept one dime of those corporate PAC donations. My opponent, she's taken over $2 million in those donations and has sold out Iowans.
And it's one of the most expensive political races in the country between incumbent Senator Joni Ernst and her challenger Teresa Greenfield, who will be elected as Iowa U.S. Senator.
Live from News 7 KWWL, we've got you covered. This is KWWL News at 10.
And good evening, everyone. On election night, I'm Ron Steele.
And I'm Abby Turpin. Thank you for joining us.
Welcome once again to our continuing coverage, Decision 2020, finally. Election night coverage.
And it is an election unlike we have ever seen before, from the pandemic to absentee voting.
And with all of the absentee ballots and mail-in voting, it is possible, well, it's certainly a possibility anyway. We may not know the results of the presidential race tonight. I do remember it being very, very late 4 years ago.
Now, here are the current results in the race for president. As you can see right now, 55% reporting, President Donald Trump at 51%, Joe Biden at 48%. These are the popular votes nationally for U.S. president. Again, 55% reporting. Now, some states like Kentucky and Tennessee calling it for the president early this evening, while Delaware and the District of Columbia have been called for challenger Joe Biden.
Let's look at the presidential numbers here in Iowa right now as far as the popular vote goes. And Joe Biden out in front of Donald Trump in the race here in Iowa. I remember Donald Trump flipped our state handily just 4 years ago. We'll see what happens here in Iowa tonight.
And we have several races across our state that we are watching very closely tonight. And with that, we have full Team 7 coverage tonight. Reporters all across the state covering the races in eastern Iowa, as well as the major Senate race in Des Moines. Now let's go to take a look at the race for Iowa U.S. Senator. Incumbent Republican Senator Joni Ernst, of course, up against Democratic challenger Teresa Greenfield. Now, right now, with 24% reporting, Teresa Greenfield with 54% of the vote. That is over Senator Joni Ernst with 43%. And Rick Stewart currently has 2%.
You know, of course, Greenfield has never held public office. She was the president of Colby Interest. That's a Des Moines area real estate and development company. But Greenfield, the campaign told me that she left that position to focus entirely on her race for United States Senate tonight against incumbent Republican Joni Ernst. Now, Team 7 coverage here tonight. Colin Dorsey's in Des Moines for us. He's covering the Teresa Greenfield campaign.
Colin, tell us, what are you seeing out there at this hour?
Abby, Ron, we continue to say that this is really turning into an election election night like none we've ever seen before. Polls are closed and results are coming in, but this room is empty, as are many watch parties across the state. It's just me and my media colleagues here tonight. The stage behind me is where we expect to see Teresa Greenfield take later in the evening as we get more concrete results in. She's waiting for more results to come in as to see where that election is called. But over the weekend, she was very optimistic. She was touring farms in Jones County, and that's where she spoke with me about her optimism, saying it was time for change in Washington, and that was shown by the sheer number of early voters this year.
I think these numbers show how excited people are. And they're ready for leaders that, one, want to end the divisiveness and the bickering and the name calling. Roll up your sleeves and get to work on things people really want done.
Ron, you just mentioned it, that Teresa Greenfield has no prior political experience, or at least sitting in a seat, elected seat, that is. She did, though, have a brief run back in 2018 for the U.S. House, but was disqualified before that primary. And recent polls have flipped back and forth. We just mentioned those numbers just a few moments ago about how tight this race is. And polls leading up to tonight showed just how tight it is. And the latest poll out of the Des Moines Register gave that advantage to Senator Joni Ernst, but things could change. We're still waiting for those final results. Live in Des Moines, Colin Dorsey, News 7, KWWL.
Colin, thank you very much with the Greenfield campaign tonight. We want to check right now with the campaign of Republican first-term Senator Joni Ernst.
And Team 7's Taylor Vessel live in Des Moines as well tonight, and he is now live. Taylor.
Yeah, Ron, Abby, sorry I broke for just a second there. The crowd got really riled up over some new results coming in from the president. Obviously, this is a lot different than what Colin is seeing. There's quite a crowd here tonight, maybe not as much as what's been seen in previous years, but a lot of Republicans here very excited tonight. Obviously, several GOP leaders are here tonight and some other candidates, but much of the focus is, of course, on Senator Joni Ernst. Now, Ernst does hold favor with the president, campaigning with him over the weekend in Dubuque. Iowa's junior senator edged out her opponent in the most recent Des Moines Register poll, but Greenfield's outspent Ernst by millions. Ernst says too much Democrat support is coming in from outside the Hawkeye state.
New York City, San Francisco, California, and Washington, D.C. So a lot of those dollars coming into the state of Iowa, those dollars don't represent Iowa values.
Now on the trail, Ernst and I spoke about some of those Iowa values, including her focus on agriculture and passing more conservative legislation to protect the environment, saying Democrats wanted heavy-handed mandates. And, of course, we're still waiting for those full results to come in on that Senate race. Again, pretty hefty crowd here tonight. A lot of them getting really riled up when those Republican victories come in. We'll keep an eye on how they react over the next few hours. Reporting in Des Moines, Taylor Vessel, News 7 KWWL.
Yeah, Taylor, thanks very much. We've mentioned this many times, but this is the second most expensive race ever in the country for United States Senate and the most expensive race in the history of Iowa politics. So there is a lot at stake, not to mention control of the United States Senate. Let's move now to Iowa's very, very hot contested 1st Congressional District, where first-term Congresswoman Abby Finkenauer is facing Republican challenger, State Representative Ashley Hinson.
Now, as you can see right there, some results coming in. This is 30% reporting in the state. Abby Finkenauer with 57% of the Ashley Hinson with 43%. Now, Hinson is a current state representative serving District 67. She's done so since 2017, and that does cover part of Lynn County.
Abby Finkenauer previously also in the legislature as a state representative serving Iowa's 99th district over there in her home part of Dubuque County. She defeated, of course, 2 years ago in 2018, Rod Blum for that congressional seat there, what many people called an upset. Unofficial absentee results were just posted at about 9 o'clock tonight for Lynn County, and now we just need those votes. We have to wait a little bit to see how the votes were cast earlier today, because many of you, about half the registered voters who were going to vote today, voted today, not early.
And right now, Team 7's Diego Hernandez is live at the location where the counting is currently taking place. Diego, tell us more.
That's right. I'm at the Gene Oxley Public Service Center here in Cedar Rapids, where those results for Lynn County are currently being compiled as we speak. Now, Lynn County is one of the slowest counties to get results sent to the Secretary of State because election officials from each of the 51 precincts have to physically bring data sticks to this location. These data sticks will then be counted and sorted through the tabulator machine to get the results in. Lynn County Auditor Joel Miller says the county does this because it's one of the safest ways to get an accurate number.
My concern was cybersecurity, and it's a very minimal issue, hopefully, but it's not a risk that I'm willing to take at this point in time.
Now, the polls did close at 9, but also any voter who was still in line when they closed gets the chance to vote. So by the time each of the election officials from all 51 of the precincts make it to this location to have the ballots counted, results probably won't be posted for Lynn County until about 10:30, according to Joel Miller.
Thank you very much. Iowa's 2nd congressional district race now, Democrat Rita Hart up against Republican Dr. Marionette Miller Meeks. And of course, the winner will fill the seat being vacated by longtime Iowa Congressman Dave Loebsack. And Dave chose not to seek re-election. Hart ran unopposed in the primary.
Now, Miller Meeks defeated Bobby Schilling by about 5,500 votes. Now, she is a current state representative serving District 41 since 2019, and that does cover part of Polk County. Miller Meeks challenged Loebsack back in 2008, 2010, and 2014 and lost all 3 times.
Team 7's Travis Breeze tonight is at the Miller Meeks campaign headquarters. What can you tell us what they're looking at these results as they come in? Tell us more.
Ron and Abby, there's about 20 people at a socially distanced watch party here at the Riverside Casino. They've been cheering as some Republican confirmations come in on the big screen. Miller Meeks feels that she has done enough in this, her fourth time going for this seat, to get the win tonight. The current state senator says her top priority, if elected, will be to guide Iowa out of the pandemic. She feels her background in medicine makes her the perfect candidate to do this. Miller Meeks says she knows the majority of Republican votes will come from in-person voting, so she's prepared to be down in this race early.
It tends to be their preference, although we certainly have made a lot of inroads recently. And then with the weather today being so good, I think there's just going to be a big turnout.
I spoke to Democrat Rita Hart earlier today. She thinks to get out of the pandemic, we need to listen much better to public health experts. So we're waiting for current Iowa State Senator Marionette Miller Meeks to take the podium. We're told that's going to be happening when results are close to final. We're waiting for Rita Hart to do the same, but her speech will be delivered virtually over Zoom. So we're tracking both of those for you. But for now, reporting live in Riverside, Travis Breeze, News 7 KWWL.
All right, Travis, thank you very much. Right now, let's head to Iowa's hotly contested 3rd congressional district race, a 2018 rematch between Democrat Congresswoman Cindy Axne and Republican challenger, former Congressman Dave Young.
As you can see right now, 70% now reporting Cindy Axne with a 52% lead right there. David Young has 45% of the vote, and Brian Holder with 3% of the vote. Now again, this is 70% reporting. Axne beat Young in 2018, 49% to 47%. It is one of 56 U.S. House rematches across the country from 2018. She ran unopposed in the primary. Young beat out Bill Schaefer 69% to 30% in the primary, and he is trying to reclaim the seat that he once held.
That's right, Abby. In fact, David Young was first elected to Congress in 2014, re-elected in 2016, then lost to Cindy Axne just 2 years ago. And of course, he previously, as many of you know, was the chief of staff for Iowa Senator Chuck Grassley. Cindy Axne, meanwhile, joined Abby Finkenauer as the first 2 women from Iowa elected to the U.S. House of Representatives. We will be coming back right away with more Decision 2020 coverage right after this short break. District. Now let's go over to KWWL political analyst Dr. Chris Larimer, you and I, and with the exception of the 4th District, Democrats with sizable leads early on in the other congressional races.
Yeah, and these are 3 districts where Democrats, in terms of party registration, did have an advantage going in, but it's still early. These are all 3 districts at one point throughout this election cycle have been rated as toss-up districts, and so I think it's important to keep in mind we need to figure out where the votes are coming in from, because for all 3 districts, they really sort of illustrate that rural-urban divide that we talked about earlier in the night. For the 3rd district, for Cindy Axne, Polk County is critical, that she does extremely well there. In the 2nd district, you're talking about Johnson County, and in the 1st congressional district, it really comes down to Blackhawk, Lynn, and Dubuque. And so for the Democratic candidates, they really need to do well in those urban counties to offset what are probably going to be losses in the more rural counties. But again, it's early. All 3 going into tonight were considered toss-up or extremely close.
Election coverage here tonight. One of the biggest races in this area that we've been watching, of course, is the race for Blackhawk County Sheriff.
And right now, as you can see, 100% reporting, so the race can be called. For current Sheriff Tony Thompson, 58% of the vote. And right now, we are joined via Zoom by Sheriff Tony Thompson. And Sheriff Thompson, of course, congratulations in order. Besides thank you, what would you like to say to your supporters tonight?
Well, obviously, thank you is important, but sticking with us. This has been a long campaign. This is what a strange year with COVID and everything else. What a challenging year. So I appreciate the faith. I appreciate the trust. I appreciate the compassion that people have shown us throughout this campaign. And I certainly appreciate the opportunity and the honor that it is to continue to serve them for one more term.
Right now, we're taking a look at, once again, we're now being called. This is very big news just now into our newsroom. So you're seeing it just as Ron and I are. 100% reporting. Ashley Henson has defeated incumbent Democrat Abby Finkenauer. 51% of the vote for Henson to 49%. So the exact numbers, 211,573 for Ashley Henson, and that is over 200,814 for Abby Finkenauer. So a difference right there of around 11,000 votes.
I think people will find that as a stunning victory tonight. And Ashley Henson, has won election to Iowa's 1st congressional district, beating an incumbent Democrat. Chris Larimer, how about that?
Well, yeah, it goes to exactly what we were talking about when we think of House incumbents winning at a rate of 90%. Anytime a House incumbent loses, that's a big story. So I think there's going to be a lot to unpack with this district. But we saw that the president did well in Iowa, similar margin to, it looks like he's on pace to close to a similar margin to 2016. You wonder if that carried over into 2020, because again, the 1st congressional district in 2016 was a district that the president did win. Obviously, Abby Finkenauer won in 2018, but now to see a House incumbent lose, you wonder, again, presidential coattails, how much of that affected this particular race.
Let's go to that live if we can.
Talks about breaking glass.
Right now, that's Mr. Kaufman, the GOP
empowering men and
state chairman,
women.
talking right now.
And then there's that other party in Iowa that actually gives power, empowers, and raises women up to positions of authority, and that's the Republican Party. So all I can say is this. When I was I'm losing my voice, folks, and I don't even care. I don't even care. You know why I don't care? Because Joni Ernst is my senator. That's why I don't care.
So that's Bobby Kaufman. Have you ever seen Bobby? He's a really big guy. And he's the head of the GOP.
Let me introduce the lady that will make him squeal, the first combat veteran of the United States Senate, Joni Ernst.
Well, there she is. I meant Jeff Kaufman. I'm sorry, Jeff Kaufman introduced her.
Okay,
There's
where's
Senator
the
Ernst.
rest of my family?
She lost her voice, too.
She's lost my voice, too.
Okay, the people that always make it worthwhile. Let me pull that down. Folks that have been with me forever. And, folks, I'd like to introduce you to my daughter, Libby.
So Libby is a cadet at West Point, United States Military Academy. Field next, because imagine this, I mean, Senator Joni Ernst has won a 2nd term in the United States Senate. Here's Teresa Greenfield.
Strong grassroots campaign, so thank you for that. I want to thank my staff. Let's hear from you again. You are incredible, you really are, and I hope you are all proud of what we accomplished. I know I certainly am. I want to thank my brothers and sisters in organized labor. You all built the middle class, and you were there for me when I needed it most. You've always had my back, and I'll always have yours.
All right, we are going to check in with our reporter Colin Dorsey right now. He's standing by. Of course, he has been following Teresa Greenfield's campaign today, and we'll check in with him now for the very latest.
Abby, just a few moments ago, you saw that very emotional, tearful concession speech from Democrat Teresa Greenfield tonight, once again conceding that Senate race to incumbent Senator Joni Ernst. That coming just minutes after Senator Ernst took the stage at the Republican watch party, just blocks away from here at the Hotel Savory in Des Moines. Senator Ernst congratulating Democrat Teresa Greenfield on a hard-fought race. That congratulations coming at about 11:37 tonight. Minutes later, Teresa Greenfield would take this stage behind me to thank her campaign staff and her family for the hard work putting in, saying that she's not done fighting, that she'll continue to fight for the things that she believes in and that she says that Iowans believe in. She did continue to congratulate Senator Joni Ernst on her win tonight. Reporting live in Des Moines, Colin Dorsey, News 7, KWWL.
All right, Colin, thank you so much. I mean, what a race it has been, the most expensive race in Iowa Senate history. And Joni Ernst, Senator Ernst, has won a 2nd term in the United States Senate. Let's go live right now to Taylor Vessel of our staff. He's been following the Ernst campaign for us tonight.
Yeah, Ron, it seems I'm a little bit in anticipation. It seems like things might be changing here in just a moment, that Ernst might be giving some more remarks. Not sure. She took the stage just a few moments ago, had a really heartfelt moment with her daughter through FaceTime on the phone. She's a student at Westport right now. So Iowa's first female senator now has a 2nd term. She's preparing for that. Now, Ernst said she would focus first on several campaign promises that she talked about, advocating for sexual survivors, focusing on agriculture, biofuels, We talked about the environment over the weekend when I caught her on the campaign trail. She wants to implement some more conservative measures rather than what she referred to as heavy-handed mandates put forth by the Democrats. Of course, we're going to be waiting to see if she's going to deliver any remarks possibly to the press. I'll have that for you hopefully in the next few minutes. Ron, Abby?